Hello everyone and welcome for a new build order on AoE4. Today we're going to watch a build order with the Ayyubids. The Ayyubids is a civilization that I think is underestimated right now on AoE4. This is not the best civilization at the moment, but it can compete against civilization as French or other civilizations that are very strong. And we have some different stuff to show you today in order to see how strong are the Ayyubids and what you can do with them. So there are many build orders with them because, you know, with the House of Wisdom you can do a lot of different age ups, and then there is a lot of possibilities. Today I'm going to show you one, and maybe I will show you more on other videos. Today I'm playing against the French. This is pretty important to understand that because, as I said before, you can go on different age ups, and when you play against some civilization, you are going to go with that age up, and against other civilization, you're going to go with another one, etc. So this is very important to understand what I'm saying with that. Here, I'm going to go with against the French. And so this is pretty interesting to fight a little bit on H2 and to avoid him to have all the dealers of the map, because if he has all the dealers of the map, this is kind of not cool for you because he has a lot of food, and if he has a lot of food, you don't have it, and this is pretty difficult. This is a meta where you kind of want to have a lot of food, and this is very important for you to understand that before we start the build order, because if you don't understand that, well, this is not cool, of course, and my goal is to help you getting better in the game, not only with the build orders, but also in understanding what you're doing in the game. So, okay, first thing I want to say to you is you want to do the pro scouts in order to have at least your 14 deers on your side of the map, okay? So to do that, you have to do a little bit of army, and against the French, you have a pretty good stuff in order to do that. You have two options, and I prefer the dervishes one because you have healing with all your units around you, and this is very strong. But you also have the desert trader one that is okay, and you can use against the French. So first of all, you're gonna start with 5 villagers on food, and the 6th one is gonna go with the House of Wisdom. And the house, first your house, then the House of Wisdom. And pretty important, you're gonna put your 6 villagers here, 1 per berry. Why? Because when you're gonna go with your age up on your H3, you're probably gonna go with this one, and this one is gonna provide you 100 additional food in your orchards, so in your berries. So this is very important to do not finish them, because if you finish them, then you won't have the 100 more food inside of them, okay? So pretty important, 1 villager per berry, and you are sure to do not finish them until a long time, and you have the time to see it. If you put your 6 villagers on one, well, it's arriving very soon, and sometimes you miss it, and sometimes you finish berries, and this is not cool because you lose some food. Okay, so with the 6 villagers here, you're gonna put your 2 next villagers on gold, and then all the rest of the villagers that goes out of the TC are gonna go on the sheeps. Okay, so this is kind of easy to do. Very easy build order, and you're gonna see what we're gonna do next. Of course, with your scout, you're gonna see exactly what is going on the map. I recommend you on Gorge to directly go or on the right or on the left, but never in the middle, because in the middle there is no sheeps in general. But on the sides, you can see there are a lot of sheeps to gather, so this is pretty important to go directly on the left or on the right. This is a little tip for you on Gorge. So pretty important to understand that in function of the map, you have different spawns of sheeps, and you want to adapt your scouting pattern, your scouting pattern, sorry, in order to have the more sheep as you can. Okay, so now I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because this is not that is interesting. All your villagers here are gonna go on the food, as I said before. And yeah, the age up is coming, and as I said before, you're gonna go with the dervish one or with the reinforcement one, so the desert raiders one. So what is interesting with the dervish is that you can never lose your units. because, well, they heal. But you have to be very careful about one thing. They have to stay alive. This is very important because if they die, you can never do other dervishes and you lose so many. You lose so much. So if you do that, be very careful with your dervish. They have to never die. They have to heal your units and to never die. And if your opponent is strong, he's gonna focus them. So be very careful with that. If you want to go with the Desert Raider run, this is easier, but I think not as strong. Okay, so you're gonna have a lot of Desert Raiders, and this is very strong versus the French because, well, they have knights, and you counter knights with the Desert Raider. If he's gonna go with spearmen and archers, then you're gonna split, you're gonna change, and you're gonna go with your archers and, for example, light cavalry or something like that. But Desert Raider are very, very interesting versus the French. Okay, when you're aging up, you have 4 villagers on the berries, and you put 4 villagers on gold in total, and the rest is gonna go on the wood. So why you're doing that? Because I put a 5th villager on the gold. Okay, maybe this is too much. I don't know. I don't remember. Sometimes I put 4, sometimes I put 5. I think 4 is better because you don't need that much gold. So why you want to have some gold? In order to do the pro scout, as I said before, and to have those deers. And what is very interesting versus the French is that you can counter them. Not versus old civilizations. I think, for example, versus the Chinese or versus the Zushi, I don't think you can do that. But versus the French you can, because you have the Desert Raiders, as I said before. And versus Joan of Arc, this is also something that you can do. But, very important, you cannot counter the pro scout of your opponent. You cannot go and take his deers. You're gonna take only yours. Your main goal is just for him to do not have all the deers of the map. Because you are a okay civilization to do that, but you're not very, very strong, okay? Very important for you to understand that. So when you age up, you're gonna launch directly your pro scout and also do a stable. If you're while you're doing your stable, you're gonna go with 10 villager on the food, and as you can see here, my villagers goes on the sheeps here. They do not gather on the berries anymore. Why? Because I'm playing against the French, and I know he can attack me. He can attack me on the berries and on the gold. So I want to defend only one spot, because if I have to defend here and here, this is too difficult for me, and he has a cavalry, so he can move very fast, and my villagers don't at this moment. Especially because I don't have my wheelbarrow, so the villagers are pretty slow, and this is important. You have to go on the sheeps, and also, as I said before, if you let the berries, well, if you do this wing after, you're gonna have 100 additional more food on those berries. So this is interesting. I also do an outpost, not only because it can protect my villagers, but also because it gives me vision, and the vision is very important. I see exactly what is going on, and you will see later that this is very important. So my 2 dervishes here are gonna stay on the gold right now because I don't have any army, and the goal of those dervish is to do not lose any villagers. So here I tank with my dervish, and they can heal, so I don't lose any villager. Even if he hits my villager, as you can see, I have the dervishes that heal so much that I cannot lose my villagers, okay? Very important. You have to be very aware with that, because if the knight charges and hits your villager, it dies. So you have to be very careful with your dervishes and to stop the charge of the knights, if possible. Then I'm gonna go with 2 Desert Raider in order to deal with the knight. And after, I'm gonna go with scouts in order to take the deers that are close to my base. And yeah, to have some food. This is very important. Here I have my first scout, and I'm gonna steal 1 deer. You can do that also if you want. This is kind of interesting, kind of cool. And maybe 1 Desert Raider is okay, because you have the dervishes that can heal it. But be very careful, if he has 2 knights, you have to do 2 Desert Raider, and you have to have the most Desert Raider as you can. So here he take the deers, and as you can see, you are not that strong. You are not as strong as your opponent, because he can have more than me. He has 5 scouts and 2 knights and 2 archers, and I only have 2 dervish and 2 desert raider and 3 scouts. So he is faster than me, but he cannot take my deers here. Why? Because the time his units spend at going here, I can produce more, and then I have more than him. Okay, and that's also the reason why I cannot steal his deers, because it takes time to go on the map, and then if I go here, it takes me a lot of time, and then he can have more army. So very important, you only take your deers, not his. Except if he doesn't have anything, of course. But I mean, if your opponent is playing the game, he has something. Okay, so I'm gonna go with 4, 5, 6 maximum scouts. And then I'm gonna go with a lot of units. So here I'm gonna go with desert raiders, some archers, and also some spearmen, because I know my opponent is gonna go with a lot of army. And if I do only desert raider, this is not good, because the archers are very strong versus the desert raider, especially if they are a lot. And if you want to play H2, this will be a little bit difficult. So as you can see here, he attacks me, and as I said before, as he has an army that spend a lot of time doing the travel time, I have more than him in order to defend. Very important, the outpost here, that gives me vision exactly of what he's doing, and then I can place my army where it needs to be. So you can see 4 scouts is enough. I can take all the deers here. And yeah, I think this is kind of over for the build order, but now we're gonna see what can happen next. And the title of the video is to do the more siege as you can. You're gonna go with a lot of that, and I'm gonna explain why just after. This is very important for you to understand that this is not only a build order, but also in order for you to understand how the Ayyubids work in general. So here I know he has a lot of archers, so I'm gonna go with that. Very important. If you have to be careful about one thing here right now. If your opponent is full on H2, you're gonna go with full H2 too. But if he's going fast H3, you're gonna go fast H3 too. Okay? Why you're not gonna go fast H3 all the time? Because, well, if you go fast H3 and he's attacking you on H2, you're gonna be destroyed, because this is French in front of you. Okay? With other civilization, maybe you can go fast H3. It depends of the civilization in front of you, especially versus those HRE, for example, because he has some man-at-arms, and the man-at-arms are pretty difficult for you to deal with if you're not H3. But in general, yeah, you want to stay H2. And yeah, try to counter your opponent and take the deers, as I said before. And yeah, that's kind of the stuff that I wanted to say about that. Be very careful with your timing of H3, and do not also take too much time in order to go H3, because if he goes H3 faster than you, then your age up is 2 minutes. So this is kind of difficult. The faster the better, but you have to scout what your opponent is doing, and that's the aim of the outpost here. I know exactly what he's doing, and I think this is a mistake from him. Like, he shows me exactly how much army he has, and I know exactly what I have to do. And then he's gonna go with the ram, for example. And if he goes with a ram, I know he will attack me, and then I can produce more, etc. So yeah. So here with my scouts, what can also be useful is that you can use a scout in order to see exactly what your opponent is doing if he's not making that mistake here. So here I see the battering ram, so I'm gonna cancel my outpost. So this is pretty specific to this game, of course. And as you can see, I'm gonna go with the age up still, and this is gonna be difficult for me. As I said before, this is not a very good idea right now, because I'm gonna spend 1,800 resources while he has all this in his army. So this is difficult for me to counter that, especially because I will lack of food here. So this is gonna be difficult. But I mean, I'm gonna have 8 villagers more. The big problem is that I don't have gold anymore, so this is kind of difficult. I'm gonna try to go here, and if this is happening to you, don't hesitate to do some walls here, for example, etc. He had scout here. It was very clever from him. Very, very important. And yeah, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because, well, this is not that interesting. Here I have the villagers of more, and now my berries gives more food. I do the walls and the dervish. Very important to do not lose them before that, because they can now, when you age up, take all the relics of the map. But here I lose both of them, so this is not cool, of course. You kind of want to have to be very careful about that. I lose some villagers, and here I'm forced to take a fight because if he goes here, well, I lose all my villagers there. So this is not a good fight for me because, well, I don't have the veteran on all my units. You have to avoid that. And I said it before. I think that I had a not good timing on H3. But I mean, this is not on the build order, so this is okay to show you that. It shows you what you have to avoid. Be very careful with your villagers here. Of course, I lost 8 villagers, but my age up gives me 7, so this is kind of okay situation. And now I can do a lot of siege, and this is where Ayyubids shines. Because if you have a lot of army thanks to the pro scout, etc., and then you have those berries, you can produce a lot of army, and then if you lack of food, you can do a lot of siege. And that's what is strong with this civilization right now. Why? Because, well, you have a lot of siege and you can counter everything from your opponent. This is very, very strong. Here my opponent goes too far, so I take the advantage. I do Springles, I do Manjanique, I do a lot of siege units, the most as I can, and I also did a mosque in order to take all the relics, and with the dervish I take all the relics and I take it into my base. And right now this is where Ayyubids shines, because you have Manjaniques, you have some Springles, you can do a lot of that if you want, because you don't have that much food left on the map. So you put all your villagers here, and as you have a big army thanks to the pro scout, thanks to the berries, etc., you can protect your siege, and then you can produce a lot of siege. Right now you have the relics, you have also a little bit of control of the map, and then you can go on the map and counter your opponent. The army is protecting the siege, and you can do the both of the units. I mean, the Manjanique and also the Springles. The Manjanique will be very strong versus all the archers units, and the Springles versus all the man-at-arms and spearmen, etc. Okay, this is very, very cool. And the rest of your army is just here to protect versus the cavalry, for example. Okay, very strong. And what is very strong also, you will see it right now, is that the Manjanique can use the weapons here in order to destroy your opponent's building. And here all his farms are gonna go down because the Manjaniques are very, very strong versus that. He loses so much economy right now, and as you can see here, I just have to protect those Manjanique and I can destroy all his archers right now thanks to the Mangonels. As you can see, this is a destruction. This is very, very strong. And I mean, this is the stuff that I wanted to show you with Ayyubids. What is very cool is that you can have a lot of army, and then you can produce a lot of siege, and you have a death ball that is very, very strong and very difficult to deal with. This is a little bit like Ottoman, I think. You have to stay alive, and then if you stayed alive until the H3, you're very, very strong. Okay? So yeah, be very careful with the fights on H2. Be very careful to do not lose that much units, because if you don't have a lot of units, you cannot protect your siege, and if you cannot protect your siege, I mean, you're dead, because the other civilizations are better than you in general in late game. Thank you for watching. Don't hesitate to like the video, subscribe if you liked it. I will do more on AoE4 in order to help you getting better in this game. See you in the next one. Bye.